Hitting the record, and record is going.
All right. Hey, Matt, welcome. Let's see. Today is February 3rd. This is the first rec commission meeting for January or for 2025. I did want to begin to let anyone who's listening know that the rec commission has um, decided that we're going to hold our meetings on the first Monday of the month. Feel like that's an important way for us to get better community participation if people just always know when it is instead of having to check to see if we're kind of every other week. So thanks to folks on the committee for making that work. I think much easier for everybody involved. Hey, Chris, can you go on mute for a sec?
I just did.
All right, you already did. All right, cool. All right, so let's see. Before we get started, we'll need a minute taker. Matt? Yes? Interested in taking minutes? All right, awesome. Okay. And then on that note, let's begin. We received minutes from Matt for 9/12 and 12/9. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
I submit a motion to approve the minutes.
All right, and a second.
A second.
Jonas. All right. Any discussion on either set of minutes? We'll approve them simultaneously here.
No.
Any comments, questions, clarifications on the minutes?
No, I think things went.
All right, very good. Hey, Jean.
Hey, sorry, I'm late. Just walk.
Yeah, no problem. We're right in the middle of discussion on the minutes Matt gave us for September 12th and December 9th. Do you have any questions on those?
No, I looked at them a while ago. It's been a while.
All right. Well, then, motion to approve. Can I get a round here? Who would like to approve the minutes? We got 1, 2, 3,
approved.
4, 5. Looks like we've got Chris. You're good for minutes? Thumbs up.
I can't see Chris. Hey, there he is.
All right. So we have unanimous approval of the minutes. All right. Okay. Who do we have? Moving next would be public comment. Do we have anybody in the audience today? Looks like we have Amy. Would Amy like to join in, or she should hang on the sideline? Amy, if you want to join in, if you want to join the panel, just raise your hand. Otherwise, we'll let you stay in peace. All right. She would like to be added.
Sounds good.
Great. All right. So we've got a agenda in the calendar invite, a few things to go over today. With nobody in the public, we won't ask for any public comments. So the items we have, this is just in order from the agenda, were a disc golf update, a Winterfest update, youth empowerment, and then circling back on Cherry Hill and pickleball. Let's just start in that order. So disc golf, Ray or Becky or both. Would you like to get us started?
I can say it's actually a really exciting time to be associated with Cherry Hill. We have a little bit of a new venture out there, which I think has a chance to be very successful. We're running into a little bit of snow right now, and we know how that's some people have said that's a deterrent from disc golf, but I think that enough people have told us that there's been some traffic out there anyways. We are open. We're embarked right now on a soft open for our disc golf course that is at Cherry Hill right now. 18 holes, course design. The course design and installation happened sort of in a whirlwind over a course of about 2 weeks. Well, the process of procuring it and certainly dated back farther than that, but we really got ourselves moving through a course design and installment in about 2 weeks. On the 9-hole golf course, we have 18 targets out there with a good degree of challenge for beginners. There's some target holes that I think are pretty inviting, pretty challenging for folks that have been experienced. I got a chance to walk the course myself, both in the installation process and then when it was all done. It really is a gorgeous course with that reflects a lot of hard work that went in there by our team of designers. Right now, the way it is it is open play. We're preparing to ask the public for some donation help, certainly, but right now is open play. We have the opportunity for people to come in, familiarize themselves with the course, and play some rounds as they get a chance to. We are going to be bringing we're preparing to have our inaugural, our first ever, at least in this round, our first disc golf tournament coming up certainly before the golf season opens. But we don't have a date set on that yet, but it would be the first time that we have a chance to open it officially for the community and bring some competitors in. It is designed to be in line with U.S. golf ratings, and so people will be using it as a way of trying to get their golf ratings up. There's a large usage of the course is intended to be obviously for the town of Amherst, for UMass students, for the college students in the area, for permanent residents here. There will also be some folks from around the area who see our course and its viability and see the challenge and will be coming over to try and play for their own rating systems. But the life of the course is from the close of the Cherry Hill golf season to the open of the Cherry Hill golf season, where we have invested. It's another wonderful tool, Becky, who's going to be going over ARPA, the sort of post ARPA in our programming, our programming children of ARPA. This is another one of those seeds of ARPA that I think stand to benefit the community for a long time. Cherry Hill tried this. The Recreation Department in the town of Amherst did explore this a few years ago. They explored the possibility of disc golf at Cherry. I think ARPA certainly gave us the opportunity to invest in a way that we didn't have it before. And we're trying to safeguard and give ourselves a chance to do it in a way that interferes as little with the golf community as possible. Even interfere, the designers spent a lot of time making sure that it could coexist with cross-country skiing, which the snow that's come out here has been a very good get for the trail grooming. We've had some activity out there here for the last couple of days, but we are excited to sort of look at our soft open and see how if our intention was to get Cherry Hill more diverse in its usage in town and its profile in and outside of town. I think that we've taken a few steps towards making that happen. Too early to say success, but I know the people who've been out there. I've talked to a couple of people who've been on the course here. I think early on, I can say that the people who've used it have been happy. I can open for any questions about scheduling, about sort of the overall picture, anything else.
Yeah, could you just remind us exactly when the season? So you mentioned end of basically when it's going to parallel or go opposite of golf. What time frame is that exactly?
Relatively short season this year because we did spend a lot of the time. We couldn't do the design while golf was going on. Now we have a blueprint as to what the course will look like when we move it into its permanent stage in year 2, year 3. But the golf course, we closed Cherry Hill Golf with daylight savings time the first week of November. We close Cherry Hill for golf around that time and put it to bed and go through all the cleanup, go through all of the John Coelho spends a lot of time in that transition period. The ideal is that in that week that it takes to close it and put it to bed, that we can then be also simultaneously be moving our disc golf course into active play and into a position where people can come and use that after that week. So we're talking mid-November is when the course will be open, typically, and then we open the golf course again in early April. And so those months, there are some times where it may be too cold for major activity, or too snowy, icy. Weather may not be friendly through all those months, but we are looking at the possibility of having tournaments in that time, scheduling tournaments. Disc golf tournaments happen in cold weather. They happen in winter months. They happen in those types of environments also. And so it sort of is going to be one of our character marks of the Cherry Hill Disc Golf Course.
Jonas.
Yeah, it sounds like a great initiative, and I might try to get out there, go around. How are you getting the word out? It seems like maybe the tournaments, there are probably people who kind of watch some kind of thread for the tournaments, but beyond the tournaments, how do you get like just regular people like me?
The hope was, if it was put in right when the last freeze and ice came in, or we would have put in all of our social media coming out right now. We are sending through our limited channels. This is what's open. We are putting up on our social media. We are communicating with the sources that come to us already. We intend to be sharing this also through the schools, through some of our community partners. The tournament is, as you said, it will be a chance as people are familiarizing themselves casually. It also, that tournament is a chance to sort of have a coming out party and introduce it to the broader community. We'll get a chance to do that as an event at that point. I see Becky's hand. I actually want Becky to jump in on this, as she is going to be responsible for that communication. Becky.
Hi, everyone. So the disc golf course is also on UDisc, which is this app that disc golf users use to find courses. So it is already on that. We have information. We are waiting. We have a tentative sign design that we've already put out, that a graphic designer is volunteering his time to help us get T signs. We're doing temporary T signs this year that we allocated as part of ARPA, so that we can't really open it full open until we have signs with the rules and, where holes are, directionals kind of thing. So as soon as those signs are done, we last met about those last week. So I do expect something hopefully by the end of this week to get those signs done. It's a quick turnaround at Sunrays, and we'll get those out, and then we'll more officially, like on social media, push out the course. So right now they're temporarily installed in the ground with like ground screws, things like that. We did use additional ARPA money to buy the converter kits to make them permanent. So once we're like, all right, this course is really playable, we'll go ahead and install the permanent footings so that they just pop out and you put a sprinkler cover on during the golf season, take it off, slide in the pole, and it'll be a much easier setup next year. But we did want the flexibility to kind of go through a little bit of the season before we solidified it in place in a permanent way. If that answers the question.
Jean?
Yeah, and does this have to be reserved, or players can just go and show up whenever they want, or like how does that work?
It's free play. It is designed as free play. We will be messaging the care for the course. We'll be messaging out. There's a variety of different people that'll be using, between the college kids, between regional disc golf folks, North Amherst casuals, people who sort of swing by. There will be a number of different groups of people there, and we are hopeful, of course, that everybody will take as good a care of it in our down season as they would membership in a club there. But it is set up as open. It's essentially we're putting it into the same category of recreational play as the basketball courts, tennis courts, over the course of their life and their seasons, where we say we're giving you the opportunity to come. We have the infrastructure here for you to use and participate and basically play, take care of it so that we can continue to do this. But we are not. It's not like golf where we have to come in and register and do tee times. You don't have to come and you don't come out by yourself.
Just to add on, there can be 78 players on the course at any time. The way the holes are spaced out, you can do 4 at each hole. So over the 18 holes. So we've got a good amount of room, and there's a decent amount of walking distance because it goes all around. So we can accommodate a large number of players at the same time. So you might have to wait at a hole, but you could always go around to the next one.
I want to just make sure I understood correctly, though. So it's temporary. We've got the temporary holes up now. And then just like, do we have temporary tee boxes as well? Like, no.
They are.
Do you want me to go, Ray?
You can go.
All right. So right now we have the nets installed as a movable, like they're in the ground with a screw. You cement in a bracket, like a pole and a bracket in the ground for a permanent installation, but we did not want to put cement in the ground and go through that until we knew the final layout of the course.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I actually am a disc golfer, and I'm looking at it on UDisc, and they show it looks like just a temporary, like one of the photos is just a temporary hole, which is why I was curious.
So I could clarify that it's not the targets obviously are real targets. It's not makeshift targets. There are permanent targets that are temporarily in the spaces where we've designed them.
Okay. And then the other thing that I just wanted to make sure I understood. So it's set for the winter now, but were you saying that we're trying, like, we're going to trial it like this and then try to make it be available year round at Cherry Hill? No. It's never going to, it's only ever going to be winter.
Our plan is not to have the two sports, golf and disc golf, overlap at the same time.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Just want to confirm. All right. Any other questions or comments on disc golf? All right. Then let's see. Next up would be Winterfest, Becky.
So Winterfest kicks off on February 15th. We have a lot of activities running that day. So you'll probably recall that last year Winterfest happened in January. The weather wasn't fantastic. We got a lot of events that had lackluster attendance, some that had good attendance. But with the turnover of leadership at the bid, when John Page, who's the new bid director, and I met, we talked about making sure we were doing it at a time where most people had time in their schedule to do it. So it made sense to try to do it over February break. So it starts the Saturday after February break, runs the entire week with lots of programming during the day, and then Fire and Ice ends it on the 22nd, which is the last Saturday of break before everyone's getting ready to go back to school. So we don't know if this is, the new model of how it will go forward, but it seemed like, last year during February break, Winterfest was already over, and I was like, wow, parents have this whole week with their kids at home. What are we going to do? So I had done this program called Staycation Amherst, where I just emailed a bunch of people saying, what do you have going on, like at the library or here, that we could give parents like an easy list to access over school vacation week. And that was actually really well shared, and those events were really well attended. So I thought, wow, why are we not doing Winterfest during February break? So John Page is great to work with, and he was like, let's, it never hurts to try. So we're doing that. So our big kickoff, we have, actually, let me start by saying we're really fortunate. We live in a town with a lot of great businesses and community partners who want to support community get-togethers like Winterfest. So we have 48 activities planned during the week. Some are through community partners, like the Hitchcock Center is always a fantastic partner. They're running 3 programs for us over the course of the week. The library, is running kid, young adult, teen, and adult programming over the week. So we're partnering together on that. We have one, they're helping pay for a concert that we're doing on President's Day, which is Carrie Ferguson and the Grumpy Time Club Band. They are an inclusive, affirming group that's local and just fun. So the Friends of the Library are helping pay for that. But the library, they tried it once at the library and it's not actually the right venue. It's a little loud for the library. So Winterfest is taking it on and we're doing it at the Bang Center since the Bang Center is closed for President's Day. Another community partner, we have Amherst Cinema, who as always steps up and does their $5 film, family film, which is going to be Frozen 2. They'll do that on the 15th. The Historical Society is running a special, they're usually closed this time of year. They're going to open up and do Keeping Warm, how people stayed warm in winter in Amherst, like over the years. So that'll be a nice history program. We have our Amherst College and UMass athletics going on. The community ice rink at the Mullen Center was fantastic to work with, and they gave us a bunch of public skate times, additional public skate times, so that people had more options to go. Our aquatics coordinator is running 3 different swim programs that week. Usually we're a Sunday only open swim. We're going to add a couple more open swims so that kids can be busy and warm or cold in the water. We're really fortunate. Judy from Harold's Ice Cream is going to do a science of ice cream making for us, which would be really fun. We have, I'm going through the small things and saving the big things for last. A local author and former educator at the middle school, Jennifer Wellborn, is doing a program for us that we're going to partner with the library. We're going to run it out of the library. We have the Mead and the Benensky stepping up to do special programming for us. And the Mill District is running a bunch of drop-in kids crafts for us. So those are like the daily fun little things. And then the big highlights are going to be the Winterfest games, which is our kickoff. If you recall, it used to be at Cherry Hill. We've had no snow for several years. It kind of got tired at Cherry Hill. So we moved it to Mill, and now all of a sudden we're getting snow. So the Winterfest games are a collection of outdoor activities, like the boys' high school ice hockey team is doing street hockey clinics and teaching little kids to play. We have s'mores, courtesy of the Mill District. We have, we're going to have an Atkins Farm cider donut eating contest. At the Winterfest games, we have about 200 foam snowballs for safe snowball fights. We have a scavenger hunt, an animals and winter scavenger hunt. We have about 14 carnival-ish games to play. And yeah, just like it's a fun, free afternoon to get out with your kids and have a little fun in the snow or not snow, depending on the weather.
Mm-hmm.
And it all ends with our Fire and Ice Festival on the Common on the 22nd. That's done in partnership with the BID. We have ice sculpting, we have wood sculpting, tie-dye. Rec does tie-dye on the Common. There's performances, and then it all ends with the very beautiful Luminaria on the Common. So it'll be a very full but fun week, and most of the activities are free and open to the public.
Excellent. Actually, I had a question for the ones that aren't free, thinking the public ice skate at Mullins. Do we get revenue from that?
No,
Okay, they're just all right. Okay,
they're just blocking more space for us and opening more hours.
got it. Got it. Okay. Very long. I was reading through it already, but thanks for giving the walkthrough. Any questions or comments or applause for Becky?
And I'm sorry, I forgot to mention our sponsors, because we're really fortunate. So, even though the events might free, running them aren't. So we are super fortunate. Amherst Innovative Living, Summerlin Floors, Amherst Insurance Agency and Charter, and the Mill District in Atkins. Are all sponsors of Winterfest, so we're super grateful for them. And the Mass Cultural Council, they're paying the bulk of the concert of the Carrie Ferguson concert for us. So we're super fortunate to have so many different groups, supporting ways to make events free. So would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge them.
Thanks for doing that.
That's an impressive list. And I would say it makes sense to have the loud thing at the Bang Center and not the library. Because isn't that what the Bang Center is all about? Onomatopoeia, bang. And just want to point out that it's an amazing and just curious, like how are these ideas coming? Like the science of ice cream making, did the person from Harold's suggest that? Was that your brainchild?
No, I met with Harold's. Actually, I had gone to a bid and chamber event, and I ran into her there, and I was talking, and she's like, "Oh, I need to find ways to connect with the community," and I'm like, "Let's talk." So.
Yeah.
That's how that came about. The Keeping Warm in Amherst, I was talking with the Historical Society, and I was like, it was freezing that day, and I'm like, got a space heater under my desk, trying to keep warm, and we're talking. She's like, I don't know what we can do, and I'm like, do something on keeping warm, because I would not have survived. So a bunch of things like that. Plus, I just I don't know, sometimes ideas happen, and it's just, it's just talking with people. And that's one thing I've definitely tried to do with Winterfest, is just talk to people and find out how do they want to connect with the community. Like Hitchcock Center's rolling out a new program this spring called Little Bear Walks, and they're designed for, the preschool and under age, to get them used to looking at nature. So I was like, why don't you test run it at Winterfest? So, and they agreed to run these free programs for us. So it's honestly, we just have a really awesome community who are willing to do things to support efforts like Winterfest.
And do you publicize in the schools? Like, I mean, I don't think I took advantage when my kids were school age. I moved here when I think my kids were a little on the older side, but school age kids just sounds like an amazing week. So do you go into like Crocker Farm, Wildwood? How do
So
you get the word out?
they don't send backpack flyers home anymore. So we send things to the ARPS Media and Climate Coordinator to send out, but I am not on the parent list anymore after too many years. So I don't see them, but we do try to send things out through the school, and the town has been fantastic. Our communications manager is fantastic about sending things out. There's videos on Instagram and Facebook. I haven't set up, I've just gotten a rec on Blue Sky, and I'm trying to figure out how to post videos to Blue Sky in the length that I'm used to doing videos. But we will be, incorporating Blue Sky into our social media profile as well. And press release is going out. I talked with Sam today. A press release will go out this week. So it'll get in the paper and then hopefully get more traffic that way as well.
Yeah,
Matt?
I just wanted to say, I think it's a great idea to overlap it with school vacation because I remember when my children were young, that February vacation was always kind of difficult.
Yeah, agreement here. Awesome. All right. Well, Becky, thanks for that update. I think you're up next also with youth empowerment.
Yep, so I'm actually not referring to it as youth empowerment. I'm calling it outreach programming because that's kind of more in line with my position, and there's other groups working on other things. So this is just the rec programming. So I'm calling it outreach programming. I don't recall actually if I've ever come before you since ARPA funds to talk about morning movement and mentoring. I know at
Yes,
one
you have.
point. Okay, great. So I wanted to update you all on that. Morning Movement is in its second year. For those of you who don't know, Morning Movement works with students in 7th, 8th, and alumni 9th graders before school from 7 to 8:45, Monday through Thursday, to come to the middle school or high school gym. They warm up, they play some games, we do mentoring and homework help, and then otherwise encouraging them like to stay on top of things at school, and then just building community, which is like one of the beautiful things of the programming. This has been paid for through ARPA funds, through REC. These funds were identified for outreach. It's, we still partner with the school and APD. We have over 50 students registered in the program, with 24 to 40 students attending a day, depending on, we can only transport 24 students because we only have 3 vans. So it's the days that are really cold and parents don't want to drive, that it's just our van kids, but we are still getting our van kids, and our van kids are prioritized as kind of more of our students who really, really need to be there for social, emotional, or other needs. Like, we really want to get these kids there. So we can only transport that many. We don't have funding identified for this program for next year. I'm presenting at a public health class at UMass next year, hoping a student group will adopt me and help me scour combis for grants to fund the program. But we are exploring multiple ways. I have found a DESE grant that we would be eligible for, but it doesn't open until like May. We don't find out till August, which concerns me a little bit. I'd like a little more certainty in the program. So we are doing that. We have had multiple town councilors come to the program. We've had DA Sullivan, Sheriff Cahalan, Mindy Dom, Paul Bockelman, and about 6 town councilors come to the program. So that's been nice to have them see like what an amazing, like, it's not always easy to leave your house before 7 and get to work, but it is one of the most beautiful programs. Like, such a joy to go to, even when it's, cold and miserable out. So I feel really fortunate that Recreation's been able to be part of this program, and hopefully keep this program alive after ARPA funds end. Does anyone have any questions on Morning Movement? Matt? Were you asking a question?
Sorry, I couldn't get that to unmute. What roughly is the budget per year?
So Morning Movement, with what we pay for this year, it's about $38,000 with transportation. That pays for transportation and 2 staff members.
Right.
And then field trips, we use field trips as incentives for kids to keep their grades up. If they have like a C or above, they can attend field trips. Otherwise, they need to do some makeup work in order to get to go on a field trip. So we've been really fortunate. UMass Athletics and Amherst College Athletics are really awesome about hosting the kids for sporting events on campus, having them for pizza or something. So we're super fortunate. We're trying to get a field trip to the community ice rink at UMass scheduled as well. So we're really fortunate that most of our field trips are free. We just pay for the bus. Yeah.
We have tried to be careful, and Becky has certainly shepherded it very well, but we've tried to be very careful about finding life for not depending on the grants that are behind us to give our programs life in the future. So, as she kind of mentioned, our big challenge right now is to find life for these programs after ARPA.
It seems like to me that you're getting quite a lot of bang for the buck there in terms of a powerful intervention.
I would agree. There are actually some kids who are in the program because they've been referred by the school because they're having difficulty at school. So one of the interventions being suggested is to come to morning movement.
Right, that's what I mean. Compared to other alternatives, I think this is probably quite cost effective.
I would agree.
I think that the participants also are saying the same thing, that we can sit there as administrators and say, or community members, and say we're getting a pretty good bang for our buck here. I think the participants' accounts, the families and the kids themselves have had some pretty powerful testimony about what the programs have meant for them, about how they feel like they're changing with the programming, about the bonds and the connections that they're making, and how they feel coming out of it. So it's nice when they are echoing those same sentiments.
Is this sort of where we are in the ARPA life cycle now? Just funds that we've got are kind of petering out this year, or yeah?
So the town of Amherst really made us allocate all of our funding by the end of October, this past October, so that they could make sure, like, not knowing the future, how things to protect the town from like clawbacks or anything else. So all of the town has been really good about allocating its funding. So we could fund through this June for the program, but we don't have any ability to fund past the end of this fiscal year.
Okay. How many other programs, Ray, under rec are impacted by that? How many tap into ARPA?
Are impacted by ARPA. There are a number that are impacted in some way. From our loaner libraries, I had a chance to talk to our fantastic youth lacrosse folks this week. Our loaner library was for our youth sports is ARPA. We were able to get some supplies that have helped after school and prime time. So direct programs that are funded by ARPA, not necessarily, there may be some limit there, but we've gotten every one of our programs, save a few maybe. All of our programs have had some impact from the ARPA spending, that ARPA grant. That ARPA grant was $200,000, which has been spent in a variety of different ways. Our aquatics programs, of course, have made incredible use of some of that investment. Cherry Hill has used the disc golf, of course, was a seed of ARPA.
The only other direct programming is NIFTY, which is the program I was going to talk about next. That's the only program that's direct funded by ARPA. It's a one-time program so we've contracted with NIFTY to offer their Biz Camp curriculum. This program will reach 15 to 25 high school students, rising, 9th through 12th graders. And what the purpose of it is to, I gotta go to the second side of my page so I speak correctly. So NIFTY is the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship, and its goal is to help students develop entrepreneurial mindsets, critical thinking, problem solving, financial literacy skills. Its goal is to get more high school students thinking in a business-minded way that can help them give them access to resources and supports to help them achieve their goals of being future small business owners, while creating a positive impact in their community. So this program, it was a one-time fee of $5,000 for the curriculum. We have reached out to, Ray and I have met with multiple professors at the the Eisenberg School of Management at UMass. We're working with them to find a facilitator for the program. We're looking really at a younger facilitator, that more near peer, talking about teaching the skills. And then we've been meeting with members of the local business community, talking about, like, my goal is to infuse this program with like the young energy and then the more experienced small business owners in town, having them come in, and I'm calling it a share your pathway story, like, because not everyone's story, like, there's the goal, part of the goal is to teach them the skills, but also that there's no one path and no one way to open a business and become a small business owner, that there's lots of different first jobs and different experiences that build towards this. So we've met with the Bid and Chamber, we've met with the Mill District, we've met with several small business owners directly, talking about building up a group of speakers to come into this group. This camp, it'll be like a camp program that runs for 2 weeks over the course of the summer. And the goal is to get at least 10 business owners to come in and share their story with the students, and kind of also build this network for kids of adults they know that own businesses that they can reach out to in the future. That program will be run, actually, we also met with the high school. The high school is going to help us with some of the recruiting for students through the guidance office and give us space to use where the kids know the layout and feel comfortable. So that will run this July.
Right.
Anyone have any questions on that?
Yeah. What is the profile of the students you're looking for that? I'm just trying to understand. Are you looking for like real go-getters, or are you looking for people who are sort of struggling a bit academically and you're trying to like show them that there's other ways to do things?
So NIFTY tries to focus on students that don't normally have access to like a business-minded education. So it's about finding the students that, have this idea, like have ideas and don't know what to do with them. But there is no one type of student that NIFTY looks for, but they really do try to focus on students who don't typically have access to this type of enrichment or programming.
So you
Right.
have like a variety of businesses, like I'm thinking like more like construction, or like a variety of businesses that will be offered.
Yeah, so we've talked to handymen, we're talking to bakeries, we've talked to restaurants, landscaping, like really we've worked to collate a list of different types of businesses and different types of stories to bring into the program. So if you know anyone, send them along, please.
Yes, I do. My husband, for example.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a minority business. It's a painting business. I think that might look, be attractive to students.
I will send you an email.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Any other questions relative to NIFTY? Excuse me. Yeah, I agree. Sounds like a really interesting program. I hope we get some good participation. And you still need to find your facilitator, you said. right? But
Yes.
seems doable for July, like that's not in jeopardy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and then I guess just sort of kind of broadly is a couple of your updates, Becky's sort of hit upon ARPA, would just be Ray. Like I know that this obviously your day job, so you're thinking about this all the time, but just wanted to make sure that we've got sort of a good line of sight into things that are going to be rolling off and coming up with plan Bs, or what we, do you need advice from this commission as to things that we need to prioritize if we're short resourced? Are there some programs that you got to make tough decisions for? I mean, we're here to help advise. So as much as I hate to say it, there might be some tough decisions coming up when you try to plug a $200,000 hole. So
I will say that the ARPA funding, it was $200,000. Some of it was used to purchase, like for morning movement, has gotten a chunk for 2 years.
yep.
We've paid for that. We've paid for Rise through that program, which I've already reached out to other people who are looking to help us fund that program going forward. I've already made connections with Sheriff Cahalane and Dave Sullivan about funding things like that. Most of what we did, we replenished our lending library so that every sport had equipment, that kids who did not have like equipment access so they could play. So we invested heavily in that. We took care of some ADA things at the pools. I don't know if you know, like our outdoor pools did not have ADA stairs or chairlifts that were operational. So that was a big ARPA expense. We also, Denise Leckenby, our aquatics coordinator, who's absolutely amazing. We met with CPAC, the Special Ed Parents Advisory Council, and we invested in equipment for students who have physical or other disabilities that make accessing the water hard. We bought equipment for these kids to be able to take swim lessons. We also underwrote some of the pool rental costs for adaptive swim lessons and adaptive open swim, so that these programs could, like, so Denise teaches, she just started Sunday, has a new group of students coming through learning to swim. These are kids who, for a variety of reasons, can't access traditional swim lessons. So it's a one-on-one program, adaptive equipment, like we have different ways, different types of life jackets and supports for kids to get into the water, kids and adults to get into the water safely, regardless of, what physical needs they might have. So that was just to create the program. So we invested in the materials we needed to create the program. Those are also, if you like, such a joy to watch the swim lessons and to see the equipment in use. It's a real, it's a feel-good moment to see kids who've not had this access get this access to the pool. So that feels like it was a really good use. Additionally, we bought lots of recreation did not have a lot of physical materials that we owned in terms of like outreach and activities and things like that. So we have a lot of supplies that will, serve us well for years going forward, so that we are less dependent on direct budget. So everything can be sustained through like normal event fundraising, or like 4th of July. We bought a ton of games. I don't know if you went to 4th of July last year. We had a blast. Kids and, their parents played. We had fun. We had a lot of really great things for kids to use. And that was all thanks to ARPA. So we really, really tried to make it sustainable, long-lasting things out of that 200,000. So other than morning movement, it wasn't a lot of program support. It was materials that make the programs more sustainable or more accessible.
Got it. Thanks for that clarification, Becky.
Great.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other questions before we move on to our last topic? I don't see any hands. Last topic, but goodie here, Cherry Hill and pickleball. It's my intent that we keep these on the agenda monthly until, frankly, like we make a bit more tangible progress on these. I know that I hand it over to you in a sec, Ray. Hearing about getting people onto the course for disc golf is like, I think it's a great way to get people, kind of remind people almost that that we have this great resource in town. So I think that will help a lot. But as we mentioned before, a couple folks on this committee very, very interested in being a part of the ultimate solution there. And so I'd like to make sure that we we leverage these people who are raising their hands to help with this stuff, because it's super important to all of us. And then pickleball, we had the presentation, I guess it was September. Ray, you and I have had some conversations since. There were some ideas thrown about for specific locations, and we have 2 attendees here, it looks like. But for anyone who's watching afterwards, I want the town to know that you are looking into some of those locations. You have looked into some of those locations. You've ruled out some of those locations for very specific reasons. So would love if you could just sort of make some kind of note on the kind of the status of that work, so that people who are tracking know that we're trying to make progress. So, all right.
Thank you. I will say that I can do what I can do to try and push this forward, and I share the sort of I share the patience and urgent patience that I know that people in the commission have been displaying here. For the Cherry Hill Working Group, we did have a bit of a step forward here in the last week or two. Dave Zomick and I sat down to basically to dress up the charge, which I shared with you a while ago, was my original draft to be presented to Town Hall. We are working on finalizing that right now. That should be done by the end of this week for the town manager to be able to weigh in on, to be able to put forward and turn into an official charge for the Cherry Hill Working Group. I would like to, of course, echo what Dave Zomick said here a couple of meetings ago, that to make sure that it's clear that the working group is not here to save Cherry Hill, in the sense that it's not that there's slings and arrows coming at it, and if we don't do something right now, the course is going to fall apart and go away. This is really an opportunity. The working group is an opportunity for us to offer some community input, to offer some evaluation of what the course's next steps are. I know I'm not speaking that to you all in a way that you all need to be convinced. I think that the Rec Commission is willing to do something if we put something in front of you to do. If we put something for the 2 members here that are waiting to jump in, your name is still on our list. Your name is still something that the town is interested in having involved in that. But again, I can tell you that as the town's priorities have been chasing other items right now, Cherry Hill has not become one of those things that they've had to take care of. And so the success that I've had is in not letting it fall apart, and not letting it get off the table here. I think that in the last week or two, by pushing through this working group charge, I think we are on the steps to having this happen right away. The only part that I know that I need to edit out is we don't need to do outside course comparisons. One part to make it more digestible for our group is that we don't have to go and sit down with the other comparable courses, which there aren't that many, but we don't have to, that's not going to be part of the charge to do comparative budgeting with other courses. But most of what we had discussed and what I presented to you all before is staying intact.
Could you quickly summarize then what the working group's scope would be?
The working group scope, give me a second. The working group scope is to look at the history of Cherry Hill and what has been tried there, what we have tried out there to manage our budget, the things that our limitations, our obstacles, our like I said, the attempts to make matters work. What have been the impediments to making those successful is to look at those historical realities within there. To look at what the operating budget is and what the gap is between the operating budget and what it costs to run the golf course. It's to look at those are the big pieces. It's basically to look at the possibilities, look at the cost and the efficacy of these possibilities of management, looking at what it would take for us to maintain management of the course, what it would take to put it out for outside management, for external management, what it would take to what options does the town have with that property, with that asset. It's basically asset management to assess the value and the management potential of that course. And
can I ask sorry to cut you off. Can I just ask real quick? Is there because there's a lot in there. Do you have a clear vision of what a successful Cherry Hill looks like? Just thinking, with all these tactics, if we don't have the end in mind, like we can do lots of different things, but it may just feel like we're spinning our wheels. Do we have a destination in mind?
It's important to say, no, I don't. I'm trying my hardest. I have an idea as the director of recreation who still loves the idea of having a golf course that's under my directorship. I love that idea. I love having that capacity. I have ideas for it, but I've been challenged to keep those ideas from being the end goal for the work group. I don't think that the goal of a working group is to reach what I, as the director, my vision for that course may be. I think that it's to bring in. I could do that with my own staff, and I think this by having the rec commission, people from the golf community, people from the non-golf community, people from the North Amherst neighborhood, by having people that are coming together to sort of assess this independently of my mission and I'll be involved obviously in the whole conversation. I will be very much I will be the staff liaison for this. I believe I haven't been appointed yet, but I'm pretty sure that I'll be a staff liaison, and so my insight will be included there. But I wouldn't want Chris and Sanjay to be doing my work to try and get my vision for that golf course in place. We need objective eyes. We need somebody who's able to think critically about what the challenges are and what the challenges could be. I will be able, when we sit down in that working group, I'll be able to tell you all the things that I'd like to do with the course. I'd like to be able to tell you all the things that, man, if we just had money for this, if we just had money for that, if we just had the opportunity to do this, if this town just supported us this way, I can have that conversation, but I don't think that my vision for the golf course should be the goal of that working group. If you does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it does. Sanjay or Chris, I know this has sort of been something dear to both of your hearts. I don't know if either of you two want to jump in.
I'm just thinking for a second. I mean, I think I got to listen to Ray and kind of get what his thought process is. And I mean, I'm trying to understand what the town's doing with it, or wants to do with it, or, you know, I mean, I listened to Zomac the last time, and it's not interested in closing it or anything like that. I just trying to figure out, you know, is it, you know, what is, I guess I'm trying to hear what, not now, not, you know, what Ray's thought process is, and hopefully with the towns, and, you know, and then if you put a committee together, we can be like, Ray, I don't know if Ray golfs. I've never golfed with Ray. We're like, Ray, that's not really like a golfing idea, dude. Like, you know, just try to panel some thoughts there. It's a good little course. You know, it's an achievable price range at some aspects. I think the conditions are achievable, could be, you know, potentially better. I think if I walked up there right now, I don't think I would see anything really going on except for disc golf. You know, I remember at a couple of courses, it's you know, it's a year-round maintenance thing. It's not an easy thing. It just, there's a lot to it, but I think you also got to look at some, you know, some of the more modern things, you know, to try to make it work, and get youth involved up there. You know, get the, you know, Amherst College has a golf team, UMass has a club team. You know, maybe tap into some of those with do some younger kid programs up there, like you do with lacrosse, that I do with volleyball, and I know there's other people out there that do stuff like that. You know, get them. They seem to want to give back to the communities in some points.
I can respond to that really quickly. Whether it's the mission of the working group or not, I can tell you to respond to Chris's question about what do they want to have happen out there. I think the reason why the working group is important is because we're financially stuck in a course that costs more money than it's supposed to. This is my first pitch when I first came to you all. It costs more money than it's supposed to cost in order to make the revenue we're making. We're making good revenue up there, but it's costing more than it's supposed to cost. And we can, there are temporary fixes we can find, but I think we've fallen into a pattern where those temporary fixes have sort of become routine. And I don't think that the course financially can survive on sort of making temporary fixes routine over the course of a long period of time. And so try to find out how it can be financially viable in ways that don't have us squeezing stones to get water. I think that's the biggest reason why this working group comes in. I could come in and say, we want, you know, let's make a big capital fund to try and raise some money, or I could come in as a director and say, shut the course down. I'm not going to say that, but shut the course down. It can't make money. It's too much of a headache, or whatever. If I say either one of those directions, if I go with either one of those directions and present that to the commission and present that to the town, then I hope that the town listens to me. But at the same time, I think the town should be able to have objective eyes on that aren't just my fanning out over it, or my saying, I'm done with this. I don't want to deal with it.
The other thing you got to, I mean, the town's got to realize is too, now it's almost a year round. If you're doing disc golf and you're doing cross country skiing, I mean, if you don't maintain those things in Christ, if you look at Hickory Ridge, in 3 or 4 years, you're not doing anything. You're not doing disc golf. You're not doing cross country skiing, because it'll just come back. So I mean, I don't disagree with the golf thing, but it's almost now it's which is a good thing. It's almost 11-month business, even though, you know, I don't have a problem with not collecting for disc golf or anything like that. I mean, you know, but I'm just saying it's an 11-month, you know, when he turns it around.
Yeah, operation. So it's a year-round operation. It's a year-round town recreational facility.
Right. Right. Yeah, I guess I think that the what it sounds like to me is that the objective is to come up with options to maximize the value of the facility, but we're not gonna specify too tightly what we mean by the value. You know, we're not going to tie it down to just revenue and cost. we're gonna be a little bit loose about what value means.
Right. Well, because if we did that, we'd have to look at every facility, the pools, everything. You know, I mean,
I mean, value comes in terms of the revenues and the cost, but also comes in terms of the amount of use people get out of it.
Right. Definitely.
Like, there's plenty of facilities in town that are very valuable that have zero revenue.
100%.
There's no revenue at Groff Park,
no,
but there's a lot of value there.
Right, and it's maintained, and right.
So Ray, if I could, a couple of points about the Cherry Hill Working Committee. First, it's hard to understand what is taking so long to form the working group. And just to be honest, like at some point, my interest in participating is going to dwindle, and I'm gonna let that be a full stop there. But it's hard for me to understand why it's taking so long to form the working group. That's not a comment to you, Ray. That's a comment via you, if you understand what I'm saying.
I will agree with that comment. I've talked to Andy about it numerous times, and it's just like, just, you know, I think we've gone through almost 2 seasons of missing golf.
If a working group is formed, I think a key question for the town to answer honestly before the group starts working is whether financial and capital investment is permitted to be part of the output. Recommendations for financial or capital investment is basically permitted to be part of the output of the working group. There will be lots of good ideas. Almost all of them will cost money. And if the town's intent, regardless of the volunteer time of citizens, is to make no investments to Cherry Hill, the members of that group need to know that before they spend the time on the commission or on the working group. And I just want to take an opportunity to say this every time Cherry Hill comes up, which is that for the past several years, I don't know, I've missed some meetings, so I don't know if we've seen this year's numbers, but for at least the preceding 2 years, Cherry Hill was profitable and only appears to be a loss to the town because of the particular accounting techniques that they choose to use with respect to Cherry Hill.
I will certainly share this this feedback, particularly the I don't know, the non-automatic, the eternal nature of your willingness to participate. I mean, I will share that. It's not something that I didn't. I kind of expected that we might have been. I wasn't guaranteeing that either one of you all would still be involved in it. And you certainly have the right to bump out at any point if you would like to. But I will share that. And to Sanjay's point about wanting to know that the value of the working group's findings, the suggestions will be taken seriously, and if the suggestions are investment and the town already knows that investment can't happen, then I would like it not to be a waste of people's time, obviously. I would tell you that when that charge is presented and your names are presented for appointment on the working group, I would say before you enter, read the charge, see what it's saying is your task and your responsibility, what power is giving you at the end, what your suggestion would be, and you can make that decision or ask that before you agree to jump on. But I will be sharing your insight here through this phase of finalizing that working group charge.
All right. Real quick here. I think we did have a hand up in the audience. Mary, I don't know if you had a question or if you would like to, but if you do have a question, I see your hand go back up. Ray, could we recognize Mary, please?
A lot of talk?
Yeah.
Or panelists?
Yep.
A lot of talk.
A lot of talk.
Hello, Mary.
Hi. I just wanted to follow up with the two speakers, I don't know people's names, who talked about Cherry Hill as a community resource. I live in North Amherst, and it is true that area is used 12 months a year. There's a lot of people, for instance, who just walk that area all during the year. And the other thing is that I am a little confused about the fact that this is supposed to be making money when, and I didn't think the rec department was supposed to make money. And as the person said before, you know, Kendrick Park doesn't make money. I doubt if the swimming pools make money. So yeah. I'd just like to say, I think we should be looking at it as a rec resource rather than as the town being in the business to make money off it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mary. All right, Ray, did you want to respond to that, or?
I could. The idea about making money, I can just say briefly, because of the amount of money that goes in, because of the amount of money it costs to run Cherry Hill, that money comes for the money it generates. And so it's not that it has to make money for its own sake. We're not trying to raise profit out there. It's not a profit center for us. But Cherry Hill should, in some ways, take care of itself in terms of the expenses it takes to operate and keep that place running. And so we're charged, in running Cherry Hill, revenue is an important piece of that because that revenue pays for its part of the revolving budget that we're responsible for every year.
Very good. Thanks, Ray. All right, before we go to pickleball, just, you know, we are meeting the first of the month. You've been making recent progress on the working group charge. Will that be done by our next meeting?
Will the working group charge?
Yeah, will you have your draft of it? I know you'd mentioned you were going to take that and I guess sort of shop it with the town, but is that something that we can put you on the hook for to commit for our next meeting?
I don't see why not. I don't see why not. Send it my way. Yes, I will take that. I will take that stress. I will be. I do have an appointment to talk to Dave about it again here now. So,
yeah,
yes,
a forcing mechanism can help. So, to some of the other comments that, you know, it's been a while. Let's have something tangible for next meeting, and if that's, you know, the working charge, I think would be a great thing that we can then discuss, react to, and you can get some initial thoughts. All right. Pickleball was the last item. Again, we talked about this in the past, and what you and I specifically talked about, Ray, was just addressing feedback from some of the people who attended that meeting about potential sites which they thought would be viable. Could you just sort of share basically the work that you've done in terms of looking at sites that have been ruled out, and provide a little bit of why? Because ultimately, you know, we talked in the last meeting about, you know, we've got money from CPA a couple of cycles ago that could be used towards, I don't know if it's I can't remember if it was the design and build, but could be used towards pickleball. Is, you know, that's sort of sitting there idle right now. And I think your answers will help everybody understand why it hasn't been spent, or essentially what progress has been made. So hand it over to you again.
Okay. I can first of all say that in terms of the mill situation right now, where we are with the mill courts, is those courts will be the lining of the tennis courts will address the pickleball community. They'll involve the pickleball lines on a permanent basis for the long term. The proposal that we go long term to pickleball in the the parking lot adjacent to the basketball courts. I can tell you that that's not an option that I'm pushing, that I have any sense of. I don't think the town is interested in losing parking spaces in that space. I know that came up before, and I'm not. There's no part of me that is going to invest time and energy into what I think would be a dead end chase to give up parking spaces in park facilities that need those parking spaces. That being said, there are options in town that are still in play, and what I think I could do is I could ask that if there's any commission members, not unlike the golf group there, but if there are any commission members that would like to participate in some of the outreach that I and we need to do into communities. I do not feel comfortable sort of sharing what the next space would be for us. There are a couple of things that had to come into play before we could make those extensions, and I don't feel comfortable putting my target areas in public record right now before we reach out to those communities. So I will tell if there's any members of the commission right now that would like to participate in community outreach with me and with my department, then I can involve you in that process as we extend to those communities. But
when you say, I'm sorry, when you say communities, could you just clarify what you mean there?
The communities that would be impacted by developing pickleball in their neighborhood.
Basically the neighborhoods. So
neighborhood communities that would be affected by the pickleball development. We would like to not have a repeat of former the problems that we had with the Kiwanis site, where we got ahead of our skis in that situation. We don't want to end up having members of the community find out that it's an option before we've already communicated with them about what that option may be.
You're talking surveys, Ray?
We're talking about basically informational sessions, surveys, public outreach with communities that may be affected.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you from my own perspective, even though I'm not a pickleball player, I'd be happy to talk to anybody about pickleball. I mean, as a person who's a big proponent of amenities in the town, and the town having amenities, I would be happy to volunteer time for listening sessions, without creating an adversarial environment for and against, pros and cons. Happy to discuss that with anybody and any plans that we have at rec or at the town for. And I agree. I don't think anybody wants to end up where we ended up last time. So anything to put that, but still keep the ball rolling forward. I think I'm a huge proponent of and happy to volunteer some time too, for sure.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah, I would too.
Thanks, Gene.
I'll stick with golf.
Yeah, you got your hands full, Chris.
Exactly.
You and Sanjay both have
trying to get my hands full.
I'm trying to let me fill my hands.
Yeah.
We're gonna call Cherry Hill it's like code name is going to be the Chris's Hands Full Project. Chris's Hands Full.
It's like the big day.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you, Chris, though. It gets concerning just because, again, like it's a golf course, so we all know we're in drought. Drought's not going anywhere. So sooner or later, you gotta start talking irrigation. I mean, something, right?
Well, I mean, the frustrating thing right now is that I joined a board to do things, and this is a good board, this is a good group of people, but I look a little more than just to meet an hour once a month. I don't mind getting my hands dirty. I've offered help numerous times. I don't need a a gold sticker after leaving the meeting. You know, I'm just looking for, you know, a little more. And, you know, golf's a project of mine, just like, you know, with my daughter's volleyball right now. I mean, I don't mind helping those, you know, it's just, you know, even the pickleball thing, man, it just, I watch other towns just put in stuff in fields and pickleball courts. And it just seems like we
drive by them,
you know,
in other
drive
towns,
by
and you're
them.
like,
I mean, I've lived in this town my whole life, and it's just like, just wanted, I was glad when somebody said the other day, the amount of money we spend on studies, we could have
Yeah.
put up a lot of beautiful stuff.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, just, I can't believe the amount of money we blow on studies. And Ray, that's not a hit at you. I'm just saying the whole town.
Yep.
You know,
I take every bit of it that I need to take, and I'll leave enough for some other folks too.
right? Yeah. I mean, if I'm going to say something about you, Ray, I'll tell you. You know what I mean? It's just, I mean, what are we going to do, a pothole study soon? Because I mean, the potholes are coming out. Let's get a study going.
Just ruined my tire yesterday on a pothole.
Yeah.
On Snell
You know,
Street.
it's just,
Big splash.
Matt, what do you got on your mind? You got your hand actually ready.
here it comes.
Mary, do you have your hand up as well?
I just had a quick
did,
question
yeah.
I just have a quick question. What the permanent lines, are they going to put pickleball lines on both courts?
Undetermined yet. My guess is yeah. My push will be for yes for both courts.
Yeah. Okay.
Mary, we got time here.
Yeah.
What's on your mind?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, a couple things. I belong to District 1 Neighborhood Association in North Amherst, and I just wanted to remind people that we did do a survey about the pickleball court with a really pretty good response, and it was very much in favor of having it at Mill River. We could get those results again if Ray wants them. And the other thing was, I was wondering whether there's been a parking study about Mill River, because certainly whenever I'm down there, that parking lot does not have cars in it. So I'm wondering if it's basically used particularly for like baseball games or, well, I guess basically baseball games. And if that's the case, couldn't the pickleball courts be used as a parking lot just on those occasions when that lot needs to be used, because it really mostly is not used. It's and there's pretty much always parking down there unless there's some event going on. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Mary. Ray.
The parking situations are event specific. It's not frequently that the spaces are occupied and used. It is on those large events out there without street parking. It's a minor crisis. There was one major event last summer where there was a basketball event, community. I think community responders had an event. There were like 3 major events and Little League at the same time, and there was all spaces. They were overly creative with their parking spaces that time, and it just made for a really difficult time. It's not all the time. It's just when it's needed, there is a strong need for it. And if you put the pickleball courts in that lot, and it would not be, we could draw temporary lines inside the parking spaces, but to have a pickleball court means raising those courts, and you can't use it for parking spaces. If those would be to dedicate it to pickleball means pulling it offline for parking. It's not just it's more of it's not a matter of just painting lines on those parking spaces.
Right. That's our agenda, folks. Unless anybody has any old business they want to bring up or new business. Jean is co-chair. Anything you want to share?
No, thank you.
All right. Well then, good meeting, folks. I think nice to have everybody here. Excited for a heavily programmed February, and I'm looking forward to getting out to the disc golf. I guess I have to do that before Thursday when the snow comes back. So, all right. Well,
I'll follow up with everybody on those working groups.
Yes.
thank you very much. All right,
Night,
everybody.
everyone.
Good
Enjoy
night.
the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.